Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. For today's video we're going to do something a little bit different, but it's something that I love to watch on other people's channels, so I figured why not do it on my own. Today's video, as you can tell by the title, is going to be a full face using only one brand of makeup. And for today we're going to be using Wet n Wild makeup, and I'm excited. I've got a few things from Wet n Wild that I've already had before, and so I tried to get for those categories something that I haven't used from them yet to try it out, but the things that I do have from them so far I really like, so I'm excited to see what the rest of their products are like. So if you want to kind of watch along with me and see what I can come up with and what products work and what ones didn't from Wet n Wild, then be sure to keep watching. Okay guys, so as you can see, I've got a lot of stuff for us to try out today. Okay, so the first thing we're going to be doing today is priming the skin. I already had the Cover All primer, just like their normal Wet n Wild primer. I've already had this one. It's okay. It's not my favorite. It doesn't claim to do anything really for like mattifying. I mean, it's just an okay primer, but it's really inexpensive, so it's a pretty good one for that, but I need something that's more for mattifying. So I was really excited when they have the Photo Focus Face Primer in matte. I was really excited about this. I found this at CVS, and this says it's a lightweight formula, refines the appearance of pores and smooth skin for an even makeup application. So it says to apply to clean skin, which my face is clean and I'm moisturized and all of that. It says use under foundation to control shine and achieve a matte finish. So we'll see how this works. I just like to put this in kind of my T-zone. So right away, I feel like it makes my skin feel really smooth. I don't really notice that it like filled in, sorry I was looking at my mirror. I don't really notice that it like filled in pores or anything like that. So if you were wanting it to fill in pores, this probably isn't your primer for you. It does feel definitely mattifying. As I was rubbing it in, I could definitely feel it dries down really fast, and it's definitely feeling dry on my skin now. If you have dry skin, I definitely wouldn't recommend this because already it kind of takes any like little shine that you had and it makes that go away, so keep that in mind. But if you have oily skin like me, so far I like it. We'll see how it wears throughout the day and all of that good stuff, but first impression, I do like it. Okay, so next thing is going to be to start out with the eyes. The first thing I'm going to do, this is the Wet n Wild eyeshadow primer. Looks like this. I really, really like this. I have used it before, I've had it. I got it recently though to try out, and it reminds me a lot of the Urban Decay eye primer, but this is like an eighth of the price. So I do really like this. It doesn't make my eyeshadow crease or anything like that throughout the day. It wears really well, so I am going to use this today. Definitely want to make sure that you set this after you've applied it, because if you don't, when you go to use your eyeshadow, it's going to stick to it in places that you don't want it to stick to, and it won't like go on smooth or anything like that. So you definitely want to make sure that you set it. So now that that is set, I am going to move on to the actual eyeshadow. So the next thing that I got is the Wet n Wild Rose in the Air palette. It's one of their new ones, and I really liked the colors on this, so I wanted to try this one out. This is what it looks like. So you've got two transition shades on each side. See, they both blend out really well. I really want to use this like berry color here in the center. I think that's really pretty. And then it looks like it's got one shimmer, maybe two, but I don't know how like pigmented the other one will be. The shimmers in here don't look that appealing to me, to be honest. So these two are the shimmers. There's a more light one and then like a dark brown one. They're not blowing me away. This brown one, it's not very much of a shimmer. It's got a little bit of shimmer in it, but not very much. And for the champagne color, it's okay. It's not blowing me away or anything as far as shimmers go. I have a lot better ones. But most of this palette is matte, and the swatches look really nice, so we'll see how that applies to my eye. So the first thing I'm going to do is take these transition shades, and I think I'm going to go in with this more kind of cool toned one over here first. So I'm just going to take this in my crease and I'm just going to start from the outer corner. It does look like this is pretty pigmented, so keep that in mind. I would rather them be pigmented with kickback than to be so pressed into the palette that you can't get anything out of it. So next I'm going to take that more orange shade and I'm just going to get all of that extra pigment off. That way my transition isn't too intense. And I'm just going to add that back over what I just did with the other transition shade. You just want to go back and forth in windshield wiper motions to make sure that everything is blended out. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to take that M433 brush and I'm going to go into this berry shade. I think this looks really pretty and I really want to try it out. I hope it's as pigmented as it looks in this, just like the other shades were. Sometimes they're not. If it's not, we'll try and blend it or build it up a little bit, but hopefully it is. Okay, so this is pretty pigmented, which I like. I'm just going to add this in to my crease and work it out and up. As there gets to be less product on my brush, then I'm going to start blending it up more into that orangey color. What we're going to do is I'm going to take that brush that I used to do the transition and I'm just going to kind of start going back and forth over this so that we can make sure that everything is blended together. There's no harsh lines or anything like that. Okay. So now that that's on there, you can see the colors go together really well. They blend it out really seamlessly, so that's good. There's a little bit more fallout here from that berry shade, so that one has a little bit of fallout, but nothing that we can't clean up with a makeup wipe. I would just advise that you do your eyeshadow first and not your face makeup. So the next thing we're going to do, and I'm actually going to grab a different brush. I'm going to grab that pencil brush from Sonia Kashuk because I want to kind of define this outer edge a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this pencil brush and I'm going to go into this dark brown shade right here, right next to that berry. And I'm going to get a fair amount on here. I'm going to take off any excess and then I'm going to start working that into the outer corner. The outer V, because I want to kind of define that a little bit more than what it is. And that'll just add some depth and dimension to it. And then obviously once we've gotten the color that we want, we will go back in and start to blend that out. We've got it in there. We're going to go into that blending brush that we used for the transition shades and really start to blend that out. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go back into that 433 brush, grab a little bit more of that berry shade, and just start to go over the brown that we just did. That way it really blends seamlessly between the berry, the brown, and the two transition shades that we did. So that's what you should have once you're done blending. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my makeup wipe, and before I do any eyeliner or anything like that, I'm just going to take this makeup wipe underneath my eye and really clean up any fallout that we got. And while I do this, I'm going to really focus on this outer corner so that I can really make the cat eye shape that I want. And I get that by really focusing here with the makeup wipe, and then it will get rid of all of the fallout underneath there and it'll help you create that nice straight line right there. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to go into that really champagne-y color, the shimmer that we saw, the only one really in here that works. And I'm going to take my flat brush, I'm going to get some on my brush, take my Wet n Wild setting spray, and I'm just going to get that a little bit wet, and then I'll pick up some more and go back in and see if that helps. So right away that helped make it a little bit more metallic and shimmery. So I would definitely recommend that. Still not quite as good as I would want it to be, but it did make a huge difference. So I'm going to go back in with that M433 that we used with the berry color. And I'm just going to use that to kind of blend the edges between the berry, the brown, and that shimmer that we just used. So that's what the eyes look like. I really like them. They're a little bit more intense than what I was going to do to begin with, but I really wanted to try out these shades and see how they worked. I think they all blended really well. I didn't have to work too hard to blend them, or any harder than I normally would. So that's good. I can't remember the exact price of this. I will put it somewhere over in one of these two spots what the price is. I got the Wet n Wild felt tip eyeliner. This is the Pro line. It's just, if I can get it open, this is what it looks like. It's just a normal felt tip liner. Very black. I'm going to do a winged liner, and we'll see how this works out. Okay, so that is the liner, and it worked out really well. It was really easy to do the wing, easy to get them to match, so I really like this so far. Alright, the next thing we've got, these are the Wet n Wild Kohl Crayon eyeliners, and I got the shades Simma Brown Now and Baby's Got Black. This is what the black one's going to look like, right there. And this is the brown one. So they're very, very creamy, which I like. They aren't patchy. So you've got your brown one here. Oop. Yeah, so your brown one's right here. Black one's right here. They're very smooth, very creamy. I like those so far. And what I'm going to do is, I'm actually going to use the brown one today, but I did get the black one just to see how it works and make sure it's not patchy or anything like that. And I will use a lot, but for today, I'm going to take this brown one and I'm going to tightline my waterline. I'm going to just go in with that makeup wipe again, just to clean up the edges around that wing. So now that my eyes are done, at least for the time being, I take just a little bit more of that primer because I put it on and I forgot that I was going to do my eyeshadow first. And so I'm just going to run this right underneath my eyes in my T-zone where I normally get oily, because I want to make sure that I've got some there, and I kind of wiped it off earlier with the makeup wipe when I cleaned the eyeshadow up. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this cushion foundation, and it does come with a sponge, which went flying. It does come with the sponge. I'm not going to use this. You can if you want to. It just says Wet n Wild on it. It doesn't feel very good to me, but I'm going to go in with just my everyday beauty blender. And so what you're going to do when you open this up, it does have a mirror that I've been using. It's got a little thing to set your sponge in, and then it's covered up from the product. So that's going to open. And all I'm going to do, so this is in the shade 120A Natural Beige. Hopefully this works out for me. When I originally got this, I was a little bit darker than I am, so we'll see. But you can see, just tapped it in there barely. I get some on my sponge, and we're just going to work this in. It went on really nice. It looks really good on the skin. It's a little bit luminous for my normal everyday liking. So just keep that in mind, but it does look really nice on the skin. These are the concealers from Wet n Wild. These are the Wet n Wild Photo Focus concealers. These are both in the shade Light Ivory, but I was almost out of this one, so I wanted to make sure that I had enough. I have used this before. You only get 0.29 fluid ounces in here, so it's not a whole lot of product to use, so keep that in mind. I'm not the biggest fan of this concealer. It's It's definitely not the worst concealer by any means, but if you want a like really full coverage concealer, I don't think that this is the one for you. It's definitely more of a medium coverage. I feel like I can use it and you can still see redness peeking through. You can still see dark circles. It just doesn't add a whole lot of coverage. So personally, if I was going to be using this foundation again, I would be using it with the Tarte Shape Tape concealer or even the Makeup Revolution concealer. That way I can really get the coverage I want. But it doesn't do like a terrible job or anything like that. It just looks like, as you can tell, like I said, I'm very highlighted. I also am looking a little bit more dewy than I usually do, just because of the foundation. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Pressed Powder. I've never used this before, so I'm excited to see how it works. I'm not usually a big fan of pressed powders because I do get oily throughout the day. So usually when I use them, it's not enough to make sure that my under eye doesn't start creasing, separating, my T-zone isn't oily, all of those types of things. But we'll see this out. I am just going to take my Beauty Blender, get some on here, because that's how I like to apply my powder. And then I'm going to just press this into the skin, like so. Okay, so basically what happened is my camera battery died and my memory card was full. So what I did is I took Wild Color Icon Bronzer. This is in the shade Ticket to Brazil. It was the darkest shade they had in the store. I believe there's one darker. I would definitely recommend getting that. It's definitely warm tone, so if you don't like a really warm tone bronzer, this probably won't be it. There's also a bit of shimmer to it, so keep that in mind. I think there are a lot better options out there, but maybe if I had the darker version, I might like this. And then I took these Wet n Wild Color Icon blushes in Pearlescent Pink and Mellow Wine, and I mixed these two together because this one is definitely too orange on me. This one is my go-to, but a little too cool tone for the look, so I mixed these together and got that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is highlighter, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to take these Hello Halo liquid highlighters. This is the shade Rosy and Ready. This is definitely a pink shade. It's the only one they had in this in the store though, so that's why I got it. They were sold out of all of the other ones. It has a applicator that's very similar to the Tarte Shape Tape one. It's about the same size, and if you can see, this is very, very shimmery, very metallic, but it's also very pink. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to take my sponge, I'm going to grab just a little bit on there, and then I'm going to hit the high points of the cheek. Now this does, as I said, have a very pink undertone to it, so keep that in mind. They have a ton of different shades, so they do have other options for you, but like I said, this is the only one they had in the store, so that's why I got this one. I have to say though, I was worried about this foundation, and I waited about an hour between the last time I was filming, putting the powders and stuff on, and right now because my battery died. And it hasn't creased, it hasn't made me super oily. The only thing is the concealer has creased a little bit underneath my eyes, which I don't like this concealer anyway, so I already knew that was going to do it. But it doesn't usually crease on me, so I'm thinking that's because the powder wasn't enough to really set it, which I was afraid of when I did it, so keep that in mind. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to take the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder. This is in the shade Precious Petals. I haven't tried this shade out, but it's like my go-to type of shade. I like to take my Beauty Blender, get a little bit on there, and then apply my highlighter. I think this is the best way to apply it personally. And I'm just going to go over top of that pink shade, and it's just really going to make it a shade that I like better than the pink, and it's also going to set that and make it even more intense. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to fill in my eyebrows, and I got the Retractable Brow Pencil, and this is in the shade Ash Brown. So I'm just going to fill my brows in normal. Next thing I'm going to do is finish up my eye look, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do my bottom lashes, and then I'll be done with my eyes. So I'm going to take that kohl liner that we used to do our waterline on the top. I'm going to take that on my bottom lash line and do the same thing. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that transition shade that we took, the very first one we took. I'm going to just take that on my smudger brush, and I'm just going to run that along my lower lash line. And then I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to take that really purpley color that we took, the berry, and I'm going to take that on my flat eyeliner brush, and I'm going to run that along my lash line. I'm going to take that deep brown color and put that on the outer edge. Back in with that smudger brush, and this time I'm going to take the other transition shade, the really orangey warm colored one, and I'm just going to use this to run along the bottom again. I'm going to take, this is the Wet n Wild Max Volume Mascara Plus. I'm just going to take this and do a couple coats on my lashes. So now we're going to do lips, and I've got a few different products from Wet n Wild that I really like. So I like their liquid catsuit lipsticks, which I've mentioned. I've got a ton of shades. I really like to use Coral Corruption and Nudist Peach on an everyday basis. I'll use them separate, but I also like to use both of them, and I'll use this in the center for more of an ombre look. And then I just got these. These are the Mega Last Lip Color lipsticks. These are in the shades Think Pink and Mauve out of here. So I'm going to use these today because I haven't used them before. So I'm going to take the Mauve out of here color, and I'm going to do this all over. I'm going to take Think Pink, and I'm just going to do this in the center for a more mauve-y, or not mauve-y, ombre lip. Okay, so that is the look. The last thing we're going to do, we're going to take the Wet n Wild Matte Finish Setting Spray. We're going to spray this all over. Thank you for watching this video. I really like these types of videos, watching them, so I hope you guys enjoyed this one too. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on me stuttering in all of my videos. And my dog barking, because who doesn't love that? Be sure to comment down below what your favorite products are from this, if you like the look, if you like to see more videos like this. If you don't like to see these videos and you don't want me to do it again, be sure to let me know. I like watching them, so I figured you guys might enjoy it as well. And it'll give you an idea of the types of products that Wet n Wild has, maybe some new products you didn't know that they had. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and be sure to give this a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.